probably only gone through a third of the data, breaking news from moles, eyewitness reports, what I saw with my own two eyeballs. Coming up, photos of Henry Kissinger, now up at Infowars.com. We're going to be breaking all that down, but let's continue with your calls. Now, we're going to take 3 or 4 more calls from people that were at Bilderberg, and then it's going to be a free-for-all, as our friend Ted Nugent would say, coming up after this break. And again, I will give the toll-free number out at that point. But right now, let's go to Rick in Tampa and then Vinny in Virginia. But of course, they've all been in Virginia. I guess Rick normally lives in Tampa, but he was at the Bilderberg group meeting covering it. What did you think of what you saw, Rick?
Well, I thought it was really fantastic, Alex. I want to thank you for the invitation to come up and join you there. We briefed a mess. I brought a couple of my friends with me that I had the opportunity to wake up, thanks to you and a lot of the other people that are working so hard to make this Patriot movement happen. All of us are ex-naval officers. We have multiple advanced degrees. We've been CEOs of probably about 30 different companies and been involved with a lot of the business side. And I just wanted to say
I saw The Guardian. You hold on. You got interviewed by The Guardian, and you had some really good points about sociology, all of it. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. It was great meeting with Skelton and his group. It's wonderful to meet people from all over the world. This is what was so fantastic about this coalescing of like-kindred spirits. It was great. But I had dinner with Stuart Rhodes, and one of the things I wanted to sort of a shout-out, if I can just take a second, one of the things that our constitutional officers, whether they're military, or police, or sheriffs, or whatever, that have taken the same oath that we have to defend the Constitution against those enemies, foreign and domestic, as well as to not follow unconstitutional or unlawful orders. And I asked Stuart, I said, is it possible we might be able to take that to the next step, where if you're given an unlawful order or an unconstitutional order, are we able to not just simply step back from that order and say, no, sir, I refuse to accept that order because it is unconstitutional? Is it possible for us to turn around and then arrest them for giving us that order? And
I want to hear what you have to say, but do me a favor. Turn the radio off.
Okay. Turn it off. Thank you.
Go ahead.
What he said was that he said, in fact, there is a precedent in the UCNJ and military law in order to stop massacres and other kinds of abuses. It was actually done at My Lai in Vietnam, where Lieutenant Calley was machine gunning the innocent women and children. And one of the chief warrant officers turned his machine gun on the squad and said, the next man that pulls a trigger, I will shoot you. And in fact, he radioed the Hueys, the gunships that were circling above My Lai, and ordered them, under his command, to fire on our American soldiers if they proceeded with this massacre. So he said, yes, there's precedent for this. There's actually precedent, he believes, in the civil law in order for us to stop unlawful actions by the superior officers that might give them. And I think that this is a very interesting point that all of the constitutional officers need to consider. It's not just about backing away and not participating. It's actually turning it around and saying there will be consequences for those who might...
Well, that's right. As you know, and I want to hold you over the break. I want you to continue your points. But as you know, under common law, under common sense, is why Texas, where I live, has a law. If you're driving by and see a car wreck and you're one of the first and others aren't rendering aid already, you've got to render aid. I like the Good Samaritan laws. In fact, you are compelled. If I see somebody being attacked by 5 thugs, it's not because I'm a tough guy that I'm going to go up and defend her. I cannot help it. And this idea that if you see crime going on against the public, you just recuse yourself, that's not enough. In fact, the minimum is that you resist it. And as you said with those gunships calling them in, you have a right to resist people who are outside their common law arrest powers. That's all police have. We just constitute them with special training. This is Alex Jones with 5. Welcome to the Info War. I'm Alex Jones coming to you from the road, blasting out on the AM and FM dial. Simulcasting right now at Infowars.com. We have free video feeds up there on the front page of Infowars.com if you want to see me here. Normally on the radio show when I'm in studio, we have documents, articles, video clips. By the way, did you guys get the Webster Tarpley video clip I sent you? Do you have that?
No, I will get it now.
Yes, sir. It's on the YouTube channel. It's uploaded. It's his comments on Ron Paul. And Webster's a frequent guest here. I like Webster, smart historian. I disagree with him that government's the answer. His analysis of the corrupt oligarchy is accurate, very intelligent. But his solution, he's like a guy who can diagnose a problem, but I don't want him doing the surgery on me. It's a pretty hilarious video. And he started accusing Ron Paul of being bad because he's against the drug war, and I explained that's been used to take our liberties. And then he went into this whole leprechaun dance. I'm not joking, the video. I'm not joking, folks. I'm going to play it later. It's up at the YouTube channel. Just link through at Infowars.com. And then we're going to tie that in with an oldie but a goodie that we've aired here. So some comedy relief in the final segment coming up today. I got a lot of other, look at all these little notes I've got written if you're watching us. I'm going to try to go over these after I take more calls. But we were just talking to a gentleman who I may have got a chance to shake his hand, but there was so many thousands of people out there overall. The Washington Post said 24. When I say 600 at one time over a 5-day event, that's conservative. We had 300 over here, 100 over here, 200 over there. It was a giant compound, square, and we had 3 entrances covered, people stringing the streets. You go to restaurants nearby, our listeners, hotels all full of our listeners. I mean, it was thousands of patriots that hate tyranny. It was just incredible. But going back to the callers here real quick, Rick, driving back to Florida right now via his cell phone. Rick is an owner of a pharmaceutical company. The only reason I know that is I read about him in the London Guardian article and the points he made about anthropology, about how men look out of the horizon for threats. Women, are more concerned about GMO and fluoride. It's hard coded into our brains. That's why they're the majority of events like that. But we had a lot of women at this event. I thought it was like a beauty queen contest or something. You go to most political functions on any stripe, and there's not a lot of women. This was amazing. But 20% or so were women. Great people there, old, young, you name it. Wonderful people who love freedom, all races, colors, and creeds. But he made a good point about, a lot of great points in that London Guardian article. The headline was like, testosterone-fueled system, will it bring down Bilderberg? And Bilderberg did start leaving Saturday. I've never seen that. And most of them Sunday. They used to stay till Monday. We shot video of Henry Kissinger just a few hours ago. Photos, that's up at Infowars.com. War criminal Kissinger pictured leaving Bilderberg. He's been convicted war criminal. But briefly, as you were on the last segment, finish your point here, sir, before we go to the next caller.
Well, thank you, Alex. My point was that from the constitutional officers that there's something that they can do in order to provide consequences for people that would issue these unconstitutional or unlawful orders.
And you used the example of the My Lai massacre. Recap that.
Well, I was mentioning this idea to Stuart Rhodes. We were having dinner at the Roadhouse, and I mentioned this idea about taking this idea of the Oath Keepers, where they say that they will not follow unconstitutional or unlawful orders. I said, would it be possible to take that to the next step? And that would be to say, no, sir, I will not follow this order, and I, in turn, arrest you for trying to have me, follow this order that you are issuing to me. And he said that there is, in fact, historical and judicial precedents in the military.
There's Supreme Court rulings. And of course, he's a constitutional lawyer, top of his class. What is it, Yale or Harvard? The point is that police, if they're attacking your home without a warrant and probable cause, under all common law, you have a right to defend yourself. But it's not just police. It's anything. And here are the globalists saying they have diplomatic immunity. They're trying to give the carbon tax banks diplomatic immunity. The globalists give themselves immunity and then put all these laws called Agenda 21 on us.
Exactly. And my last point would be that from a civilian perspective, I have one more challenge to put out to your listeners and for them to think about one more thing. And that is one of the reasons I think that so many people remain asleep or unaware, or maybe just willfully this way, is that we have lost our sense of civic and social responsibility. Our kids in schools have been just propagandized to death to think about themselves, to say, you have to take responsibility for yourself, for yourself. They're beaten over the head, and they've lost that sense of, I am, this question, am I my brother's keeper? And yes, we are.
Yeah, notice that. The collectivist, exactly. The collectivist, everything's a deception. They say the state collectivizes you and takes all your labor and taxes and then compartmentalizes it, but you're not supposed to get together individually. That's dirty and bad and scary, when in truth, you're not supposed to have collectivization at the top. You're supposed to have collectivization at the bottom. So they take everything and invert it against its own logic. They try to invert everything that's wholesome and good because they're at war with that. Very well said.
I mean, this is part of the whole agenda of destruction of the family, the ruination of parents having sovereignty over their children, etc. It's this idea of, you look out for yourself. And with what's coming...
It's an army of one.
Right,
It's all about you. They have magazines about it, and people think they're getting ahead because they only care about themselves. Well, then the whole society collapses when you don't care about anybody else. Very well said. And these are, thank you for the call. Do I have time to go to one more call here, guys, before we got a break? Okay, for some reason we never get on the atomic clock around here. Thank you. Let's go ahead and talk to Vinny in Virginia, where we're at right now. I'm going to tell you, this state is uber gorgeous. And I've been here before, but let me tell you, the tongue's hanging out. I like it. I know why George Washington liked it and Thomas Jefferson. Oh, yeah, baby. I like the looks. This is a sexy state. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm lusting after Virginia right now. Pun intended. Go ahead, sir. You're on the air.
Hey there, Alex. Talk to you. I was there yesterday. I was there about a couple hours before you got there, but once you got there, man, that was awesome. I never been to anything like that. I mean, I was the one...
You never seen people that crazed? What'd you think of that big Marine Corps veteran who could bullhorn even better than me? I was like, here's the thing. He was just hitting him hour after hour after hour.
And I had shaking the building. Flag, the little one, I was dressed up. And that was just awesome, man. I just, people driving by with the Ron Paul flags, and it's just awesome, man. It's just proud to be... It makes me proud to live in Virginia, like when you talk about like the founders, how they used to live here and stuff, and how they chose to live here. I always think of that.
Hey, there's 1 degree of separation. It's all generation after generation passes the baton. It's a clear, like electricity connection right back to George Washington, right back to Thomas Jefferson, right back to beating the biggest empire ever, right back to putting it all on the line. That's why you feel it. When you grab hold of this and say, I choose liberty, I choose the republic, I'm against the New World Order, you are literally tying into that power, and it's incredible. You are tying into history. You are getting past the fear and setting your will against the tyrants. And that's when God gives a little smile and a wink. I'm telling you, you felt it, didn't you?
It was my birthday, too, so it made it an awesome birthday, man. It's a rocking birthday.
How loud was the bullhorning? We had like 20 bullhorns going at once.
Dude, it was so loud. It was just like, at one point, it was just everybody together was just doing it. It was just like, it was just crazy. And the people play music through their bullhorns too, like the Megadeth and stuff, like Endgame and stuff like that. Before you got there, they were doing that. So it was just nuts, man.
That was the great part. Even if they kill me, I'll still be at all the Bilderberg meetings because they were playing over bullhorns my speeches at other events. It was incredible.
Yeah,
oh, man, I tell you.
Man, I put you in my songs and everything, just like Dave was saying. But I just loved how just everything, the way we all, I loved the fact that you and the crowd were all together. It wasn't like you were just like in a microphone separate from the crowd. We were all together doing this.
No. Even radio hosts that are a lot smaller than I am, they want to have all these bodyguards and be up on the stage, so you're in awe of them. And everybody's like, don't you have security? I'm like, no, I got God. And if I get killed, that makes everybody wake up. If I don't get killed, we go forward. I mean, and that's what the globalists can't face, is that we're all in. We're committed. There's no back.